Hey Falcons Nation, it's confirmed, the Atlanta Falcons have ruled out players for the game against the Eagles. Let's dive into that and more, a deep dive into our Monday Night Football matchup against the Eagles. So hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any updates this season. We've got some important injury updates and insights on Kirk Cousins, and trust me, you won't want to miss this. Let's dive right in. We're heading into our Week 2 matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles without two key players. Inside linebacker Nate Landman and defensive back Antonio Hamilton Sr. have officially been ruled out from Monday Night Football, and that could shake things up for our defense. Let's start with Nate Landman. This guy was a beast in our season opener, playing 54% of the defensive snaps and making a critical stop on a 4th-and-1 play in the fourth quarter. But now, he's dealing with a quadriceps and calf injury, and he hasn't practiced at all this week. This is a tough loss, especially since we don't have much depth at inside linebacker. With Landman out, rookie J.D. Bertrand is the next man up, sitting behind starters Caden Ellis and Troy Anderson. Now, the Falcons are looking for options. They've been testing the waters with veteran linebackers like Quan Alexander, Rashaan Evans, and Josh Woods during Friday's practice. No official signings have been made yet, but we'll keep you posted. As for Antonio Hamilton Sr., this will be his second straight game out with a groin injury. He participated in limited practices on Friday and Saturday, so it appears he's on the mend but isn't ready to take the field just yet. It's definitely a blow to our secondary, as we face a dangerous Eagles receiving core. Now, some good news. Offensive tackle Caleb McGarry and running back Jace McClellan were full participants in practice on Saturday, and neither carries an injury designation heading into the game. That means McGarry will be anchoring the offensive line, and McClellan should be in the mix to support Bijan Robinson in the run game. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room, Kirk Cousins. Week 1 wasn't pretty. Cousins didn't look like himself in that tough game against the Steelers, and the talk about his health has been nonstop. But let me put those concerns to rest. Despite the shaky performance, the Falcons camp has been clear. Kirk Cousins isn't dealing with any lingering effects from his Achilles injury. The poor game wasn't about his physical form, it was mental. According to insiders like Diana Rossini, Cousins just needed to shake off the rust after not playing in the preseason. And let's not forget, it was also offensive coordinator Zach Robinson's first game. As much as we criticize rookies, we have to give rookies some leeway, too. Head coach Raheem Morris believes in Cousins' ability to bounce back. He's going to bring the urgency, Morris said, emphasizing Cousins' focus and determination heading into Week 2. We've seen Cousins bounce back from tough games before, and I expect to see a more polished and confident performance against the Eagles. So what can we expect from Cousins and the Falcons' offense on Monday night? Well, the predictions are flying, and many analysts think the Falcons will put up a better fight than they did in Week 1. Shane Shoemaker of Clutch Points is predicting Robinson to rush for over 100 yards, Cousins to throw for at least 220 yards, and Drake London to bounce back with over 80 yards receiving. London was mostly invisible in the opener, but we all know what he's capable of when he gets into a rhythm. If Zach Robinson can make the right plays, expect London to be a key part of the offense on Monday. But not everyone is on the Falcons' hype train. In fact, Keyshawn Johnson gave a cold-blooded take on his All Facts No Breaks podcast, saying that Cousins could be benched mid-season if things don't improve quickly. He's speculating that if Cousins doesn't perform well, the Falcons could turn to Michael Penix Jr., who's waiting in the wings. That's a pretty bold claim, and while it's just speculation for now, the pressure is definitely on Cousins to show that he's still the guy to lead this offense. The good news? It's only Week 2, and there's plenty of time for Cousins to find his groove. So, there you have it. We're heading into Monday Night Football without a few key players on defense, but there's no reason to hit the panic button just yet. Cousins is ready to bounce back, Bijan Robinson looks ready for another big night, and Drake London is primed for a breakout game. But right now, we want to hear from you. What do you think of these injury updates? Are you concerned about Landman and Hamilton being out, or do you think we have enough depth to hold the line? What about Cousins? Do you think he'll bounce back? Or do you think the concerns are justified? But beyond Cousins, the bigger issue is how we're going to redefine our offensive identity heading into a primetime matchup against the Eagles. Monday Night Football is just around the corner, and all eyes will be on Atlanta. Can offensive coordinator Zach Robinson make the necessary adjustments to jumpstart what was a pretty stagnant offense in Week 1? It's no secret that if the Falcons want to have any chance against the high-powered Eagles team, they're going to need to bring their A-game offensively. The Eagles put up 34 points in their opener against the Packers, and while they had their own struggles with turnovers, that offense is no joke. So, what exactly needs to change for our Falcons to keep up? We saw a lot of predictable formations in Week 1, and that's something that needs to change by Monday night. Fans and analysts alike were surprised by how much the Falcons relied on pistol and shotgun formations, which limited Cousins' comfort level. He spent most of his career playing under center, and that's where he's at his best. Not only was Cousins' positioning behind the line a concern, but the predictability of our offense was glaring. The Falcons almost exclusively ran the ball from pistol and passed from shotgun. When you're playing against NFL defenses, giving a hint like that is a recipe for disaster. At this level, teams are going to exploit predictable plays every time. Another Week 1 puzzle? No play action. Falcons fans, you remember 2016, right? When Kyle Shanahan was putting together one of the best offenses in NFL history? A big part of that success was play action, which made our offense nearly impossible to predict. Yet, in Week 1, not a single play action pass was called. And here's the rub. Last season, Cousins was one of the best quarterbacks in the league when operating off of play action. Without that element, the Falcons struggled to create explosive plays. In fact, we only had one play of 20-plus yards last week. Compare that to the best teams in the league, most of whom lead in explosive plays, and it's easy to see why Week 1 was a disappointment. The lack of explosive plays is a red flag. In 2023, 9 of the top 11 teams in terms of generating plays of 20-plus yards made the playoffs. If we want to be in that conversation, we need more firepower. Without it, it's going to be a long season. Now, let's talk about the running game. Last week, the Falcons relied heavily on the stretch run, a play that has been this team's bread and butter since 2015. But here's the problem, without a solid play-action game to complement it, the stretch run becomes less effective. The Steelers were able to read and react to our running game with ease. If the Falcons want to improve, they need to mix in more split-zone runs. It's a similar concept to the stretch run, but it would take some of the pressure off Cousins by providing an easier outlet pass to a tight end on the backside of the play. This type of play is straight out of the playbook that Zach Robinson should be familiar with from his time with the Rams. Robinson needs to integrate these types of adjustments if the Falcons want to not only improve the running game, but also open up opportunities in the passing game. With the Eagles' defense on the other side, these changes are essential to keeping pace in what could be a high-scoring affair. What are your thoughts on this? What changes do you think Zach Robinson should make to the offense heading into Monday night? And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more updates. Go Falcons!